Welcome everybody. Y'all ready for this? The Hustle. My name is Steve Tek, and these are my co-hosts. I'm Talia. And I'm Tek Luciano. You may have heard me on radio, you may have never heard of me at all, but that's okay.
Y'all gonna learn today. Your whole life was a struggle, had to make it out the jungle. This is a show for you. Welcome to the hustle. Under pressure, never break a fold. Keep chasing your goals until you blow. Now, welcome to the hustle.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Hustle Podcast. We got my man Tek Luciano in the building, episode 53, and we got very special guests in the building, Tara Tiny T Pompetti,
Hey.
fitness coach extraordinaire.
Extraordinary. I like
Welcome.
that. That's great. I'll use that one for now on.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's 3 years that we've been trying to do something together, and now that the podcast is in fruition, I'm like, we got to get you on the podcast. I hit her up. I'm like, are you down to be on the podcast? She said yes. When can we do it over Skype? I live in Mexico now.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was sure that you were doing it online. You know, everybody's doing everything online pretty much nowadays. But so I'm here now.
So you're here now. You got to, I think it was for the majority of the pandemic, you got to live in Mexico?
I was in Mexico pretty much the whole time. Like, I literally spent 3 months in Canada in the last year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been great. You know, I don't want to like put it out there like that, but yeah, it's been a blessing to be able to get away from everything here during that time.
I bet.
Yeah.
How was that experience? Like, what made you go to Mexico? Say, you know what? We're moving to Mexico for a year and a half.
None of it was planned, actually. I was a bit like everyone at that time. You know, I had my business. My business was thriving. It was doing really good. I was working at the gym, a pro gym at that moment. And my business was completely shut down. And I remember at that point, I was just like, I started crying, you know, because I had left my professional career at the bank. I used to be a financial advisor for 10 years. And I had started my business maybe a year and a half prior. And I was doing really good. Like, I already had built a 6-figure business within the first 6 months of having my business. And I was seeing this dream just fall apart at that point. And I called my business developer, and right away, you know, he was like, well, listen, he's like, you have about 50 clients under management. We have to find a different strategy to serve them. And that's the thing, you know, it's like, the more we're adaptable, the more we could expect to become successful. And right away, we came up with a new method to serve them online. And through that, I built an online platform, which allowed me to go to Mexico and work from Mexico during the confinement.
Mm-hmm. Digital nomad right there. Yeah. Not digital, you're an active nomad. You get to do whatever you want. How does it work, though? You said it's online. You send them...
Yeah. So it was really, like I said, it was really just adjusting, kind of seeing, okay, how can I serve my clients? How can I meet their needs? Even for Mexico, like I said, it wasn't really planned. You know, we weren't planning on staying there. We went to Mexico. We were supposed to be there for 6 weeks initially. And then when conditions were so bad in Canada and my business was starting to do good again, we're like, okay, why come back? But it's pretty much just serving clients the same way, you know, providing nutrition plans, providing exercise programs, but everything that you would do face-to-face was switched to online, you know? So it's like, instead of doing consultations face-to-face, it's like doing online consultations. And people still want to be fit. Mm-hmm. People still want to be healthy. People still want to work on their goals and have someone behind them. So it was just a question of creating a new method that would continue to add value to their experience while delivering results. And because I was able to do that effectively, well, it worked out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people need that motivational support. You know, like, it's one thing to say I want to do it myself, but when I have tea up my ass telling me,
exactly.
Make sure you eat the food correctly.
Yeah, accountability.
Yeah, exactly.
Accountability, exactly.
I told her eat tacos have a taco for me in Mexico.
I said no. I'm like, it's not happening. It's not happening. But it's like, it helps us on so many different levels. That's the thing. You know, it's like, it's not so much about fitness. Like, for me, this whole process, like, completely saved my life. You know, prior to having my business, like, I was struggling a lot with personal issues myself, you know, with drinking alcohol, and having someone behind me, having that accountability really helped me get my life back on track. So I think during confinement, people really needed that more than ever. You know, it wasn't even so much about anymore staying fit. It was about really like having some type of mental and social support, because we were so isolated. You know, people were in their house with their kids, with their partner, on top of each other, can't go out, can't go anywhere. It's winter, it's dark, it's depressing. So I think it was a way of having, you know, you could either drink yourself to have a distraction, or you could have positive distractions. And when you channel your energy in positive ways, well, I think that's more what it's about, you know?
A lot of it too is that people, for me personally, during the pandemic, like we lost our routine.
Yeah,
you know, and,
exactly.
and like we're creatures of habit, human beings, right? So it's like once you put a pin in that and you really just lose yourself, that's what happened to me. Me personally, I filled the void with food. You know, as I was recording music at home and eating. That's what I did for the duration of the pandemic. Pandemic ended. Let's start a podcast. I walk in 300 pounds, bro. This shit was out of control. It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
A lot of people were like that. They said that the average Canadian gained 15 pounds in 1 year during the pandemic, just because they didn't know what else to do. And the reality is, when we're stressed, when we're bored, and food is accessible, it's like, or if you're not feeling good on top of that, what are you going to turn to? It seems like that's all we know, right? So it's like having that routine and maintaining that routine becomes so important, not just during difficult times, but all the time, learning how to implement a healthy routine that keeps us together.
Yeah. So T, right now, like, you're in your full bodybuilding fitness mode. I that's not how I met you. I met you high school days.
I don't even remember meeting you.
Meeting me.
I'm like, oh, we met each other.
Paul Hing. Shout out to Paul Hing.
Young Cambodia.
So yeah, I met you then. Like
Crazy.
Typical teenager, like
Troubled teenager.
Partying, drinking, right?
All the time.
How did you go from that to where you are today?
I think that's like really the beauty of this story, you know, is how we could go through so much and still become something, you know, and I think that's really what I try to highlight to people, because it's so easy to get caught up in a situation and allow that to become your identity. Like, I am depressed, or I am a convict, or I am, and then that becomes you, you know. But to decide to take a different path and to use every experience as, you know, a learning, for me, well, that's pretty much what it is. But yeah, so it's like so much, my mind blocks sometimes, you know. But yeah, so like looking back, I think when I really think about it, like, I always had really strong values, because my mom was like someone that was really like a hard worker. And she always told me how it was important, you know, to go down a certain path. But I grew up in an area that wasn't necessarily the best area. Hochelaga, Maisonneuve. Kids are smoking at like 11 years old, drinking 40s. And I just really wanted to be accepted when I was younger, because like I was English and they were French, and I'd get picked on. So it's like the first people that really wanted to be my friends, well, they weren't the right friends. So I kind of went down the wrong path, you know, like as a teenager. And I don't know, like I can't really explain how I had it in me to be able to fall back in better habits, because it's like such a long story. But yeah, you're going to have to ask me other questions, because
I know you went through a traumatic experience.
Yeah, I did.
A very traumatic experience that I can't really speak on it, because I don't know how to even touch on it. I remember seeing it on the news and everything. It was so shocking. When I found out it was you, I was so fucking shocked. Yeah. And I never got like the full like story. I don't know what happened, how it happened.
Yeah.
If you'd like to elaborate, feel free. Like, we don't have to get too into it, but
no, I'm okay.
It is part of your story, and I think it's something that can motivate a lot of people.
It is. It is the story. It is the story.
That's what made you change your life, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it. That's what made me turn my life around, because it's like when I was a teenager, like I had certain habits, and I was always into fitness. Like I started fitness when I was about 19 years old to quit smoking. Like, how do you quit smoking at 19? It just shows how early I started, you know what I mean? But I loved it. I really fell in love with it, but it was never something I saw as something that could become my career, you know, that I'd make money out of. Like for me, it was like, you know, people talk about passion and they kind of like shut you down. So I did everything else. You know, I was like going to school, I was doing what was right. And I was in a relationship at that time. I got a job at the bank when I was like 21. And I had this big vision of like being this big person in the bank, but like something really wasn't going good in my life, and it was my relationship. So I was going out with this guy named Carlos for about 5 years. Like I was 25 at the time. And my relationship was just very toxic, you know, like very, a lot of lies, a lot of this, a lot of that. So I decided to put an end to that relationship because it was starting to impact my career and was starting to impact my school, my studies, which was important. I was trying to build something for myself. And it was when I put an end to that relationship that things really turned for the worse. I was coming home one night, and as I came into my apartment, Carlos had broken into my apartment and he attacked me. He stabbed me 18 times.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. 18 times. I don't remember anything, and I think it's probably better that way in a sense. All I know is that like it was extremely, extremely violent. Like I lived in an apartment that was on the second floor, and they said that it literally looked like a murder scene. Like apparently they had to bring cleaners inside because the walls were full of blood. I got stabbed 6 times in my neck directly. So from here to here, and my chin, my lung, my kidney. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks in a coma, and I literally died 3 times in the hospital.
I have goosebumps right now. Like.
Yeah, like it's pretty incredible, you know. It's like to be here today and to be able to talk about it. Like even myself, when I talk about it, it's like I have trouble believing that actually happened to me, especially because I don't remember. You know, it's like one thing when you remember something, but I don't remember, right? So it's like sometimes I think about my story and I'm like, okay, wait, yeah, that happened. And now I look at where I'm at now, and it's just incredible.
It's crazy. Like I think the fact that you were able to overcome that traumatic event and be the woman that you are today. Like literally get into the fitness. I think you mentioned that after that happened, you still had a little like
it wasn't right
alcohol
away
problems and stuff like that. And then one day you woke up and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like,
it really wasn't perfect. You know what I mean? Like it was a huge journey, and that's the thing is a lot of times like we look at people and we think, okay, you know, like they have it so good and they have it all together, but we never see you know, the challenges that person faced. And that's why I find it so important to be authentic and to talk about these challenges. You know, a lot of times we have leaders that make life seem so perfect, but it's not like that. Like, let's talk about what we've actually been through. Like, that's what inspires people when we become relatable. And I really, really, really struggled. Like, I wanted to go back to work right away. I wanted to go back to school right away. And what happened was within my first 6 months, I had returned to work. I had returned to school. But because of the PTSD, you know, I was having nightmares. I couldn't focus, so I had to stop school. I had to get off of work. And it's like as if the whole vision of my life was starting to fall apart. And I couldn't deal with that. And I didn't know how to deal with it. So I just started drinking and drinking and drinking. And it became like a spiral of like negativity for about 1.5 years. Yeah.
A black hole of just
a black hole.
I mean, and unfortunately, it's like it's a natural tendency for people to fall into those type of, you know, those type of substance abuse issues or whatever your vice is going to become exacerbated once you go through a traumatic experience like that. Was there ever a point where during your transition into changing your life ultimately, right? Was there ever like a point where you kind of said to yourself, like, you're kind of letting him win by going down this path? Did that factor into it at any point?
I think I was so in shock. Like Carlos didn't cross my mind very much. You know, it was more the trying to understand why.
Right.
Like I was like, why did he do this? You know, like it was someone that I loved, and I left him, you know, because of the events that brought up to that. But I was trying to get answers that I would never get, really. You know, you can't understand why someone's going to ever do that to you, you know? And I think that's what really messed with my head. And then the fact that, you know, I had very tunnel vision about what my life should be. And instead of thinking, well, I need to focus on healing, I need to focus on, you know, like getting better, I was like, my whole life is falling apart. I'm nobody, I'm nothing. And status and work was like something that was super important to me. So I think it was more that was like,
weighing on you.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't see it that way. I didn't think about my actions. I didn't think about, like how it was affecting, like how he was winning, because I was thinking more, I was so in pain that I just wanted to remove that pain without realizing that my method was creating more suffering.
And that's unfortunately for people who suffer from, whether it's an addiction or whether it's just mental health issues, that inner voice that like torments you constantly. Like that's the hardest part to get over for so many people,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's rough. That could be rough. That could be rough. But I mean, listen, you turned it around. Yeah. You turned it around.
Yeah, it took a while. It took a long time, and a lot of really bad things had to happen. It's like I had lost my license. Sometimes I would wake up in my bed and I didn't even know like how I got home. I didn't even know where my car was. And eventually what did it for me is that like I was just so fed up of like crying and crying and crying. And I had this moment where what really turned the situation around, like this went on for 1.5 years. Like I was literally living in my unconscious mind for 1.5 years. Like never once did I even think I need to get help. Never once. It didn't even occur to me. It was just like reacting to my environment all the time, And it's almost as though people around me was like, well, she's messed up, poor Tara, like people didn't think to say, hey, like wake up. Everybody thought that I was the victim and what I was going through was normal, but it wasn't normal.
Yeah, and really they're enabling you at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did you have any therapy that you went to, or like at that point you were just literally doing it all on your own, just trying to make things work?
So I had my trigger moment where basically I had a night where it really got out of control, drinking a lot, and drinking would lead sometimes to other things. Yeah. And I remember like I was in my apartment, and I had stayed in the apartment where the incident had occurred, which I'm sure did not help mentally.
No, for sure not.
And I remember I was just like on the floor and I was crying, and like my buzz was coming off, but I couldn't fall asleep. So now like the spiral of negativity was worse, and I just felt like I wanted to get out of my body. And at that moment I was like, okay, I'm just going to put an end to this. And I didn't know like how I was going to do it or whatnot, but my plan was just to go to a hotel and like put an end to it, So I grabbed my keys and I went in my car. I was driving on the 40, and I just remember like driving on the 40 and like seeing the sun in my lights in my eyes, and I was like, okay. I went to grab my IDs because I needed my IDs to go into a hotel, right? And I realized at that moment I forgot my ID. And it was just like a light went off in my head, like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. What the fuck are you doing? And at that moment, I went back home and I called right away. Like I called IVAC, which is victim support. Yeah. And they referred me to a psychologist. And within 24 hours, I was seeing a psychologist. And for me, that first meeting, like, set the tone for the rest of my healing. Because she made me realize pretty much, she's like, what you're going through is normal. She's like, you have PTSD. She's like, you're still in shock. She's like, you're not accepting the situation. Your life is not over. She's like, but you need to focus on healing. And when I realized that, I was like, okay, wait. My life is not over. Like I was in all these behaviors because I thought my life was over. So just hearing that for me was like enough to say, okay, I'm willing now to do the work to get back where I need to be. So I think that's why it's so important when we don't recognize ourselves, we don't recognize our behaviors, that sometimes we talk to someone, it could give us a lot of clarity.
Definitely. Look, you have veterans coming home from wars. We see bombings and people getting killed. You went through something like most veterans don't even go through, you know what I mean? No. Yeah, it's super shocking. Definitely had PTSD. Yeah. The fact that you were able to seek therapy, overcome it, and get to the position that you are now. And I feel like you've helped so many people since your transformation. Exactly. And just knowing that you've helped countless people, it's just like, it must feel really good in your heart.
It really does.
And you know that you have a purpose in life. And you're not a waste, you know what I mean? Think of it as a rebirth.
It is.
The phoenix rises from the ashes, you know what I mean?
Yep, yeah, it totally is. And that's how I feel. I feel that we all go through pain to overcome it. And it's only once we overcome it that we can really understand why we went through it. You know, but far too often we get stuck in that pain. You know, whether it's a relationship, you know, that fell apart, whether it's a job loss, you know, it's like we get stuck in that pain rather than say, you know what, I got to keep on going, I got to move on. And provided I had not done that, it's like today I'm living a life I could have never even imagined for myself because I had the courage to actually step up and say, you know what, I'm going to overcome this and take the measures necessary to do it, you know?
And I just want to, sorry to cut you off, but I just want to highlight one thing that you said, because there are a lot of people going through mental health shit. More people than we would probably think of. I mean, like, I would say the majority of people to some degree are going through some kind of shit, right? So it is super important to actually go and get help. And a lot of people don't do that, whether it's an issue of pride, ego, whether they just don't think they need it, whether like you were saying, you know, you kind of just go into this autopilot where your routine just becomes your life.
Destructive.
And you don't even realize what you're doing. You're just living your everyday routine, you know? And the funny thing about it is sometimes just hearing somebody else, whether it's a psychologist or whether it's somebody in your family who has enough balls to pull you aside and say, what the fuck are you doing, retard? Like, wake the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like, no, but seriously,
exactly.
sometimes you just need to hear somebody else hold up a mirror to you. You know, so if you are going through that type of shit, because listen, my story doesn't compare to your story, and we're not here to do comparisons, but I've been through some shit too, and it's like, go get help, man. Don't wait. Don't put it off. You know, don't put it off. If you have an addiction, if you have whatever it is that the fuck you're going through, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. Get help, man.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
that's it. I'll shut the fuck up now, but continue. You know what I'm saying?
So you had that experience happen. You sought therapy. You started making changes in your life. How did the fitness routine come to play?
Well,
How was it like every morning I got to be at the gym or?
Well, that's it. So it's funny that Tek brought up that point, you know, about someone actually confronting you about your problems, because that's pretty much what had happened to me in the end, is that, you know, I had taken these measures to get my life back together. So I was already in fitness, but my life was kind of like, you know, at that point, I wasn't, you know, I'd missed the gym because I was hungover for 3 days, you know, like the consistency wasn't there and wasn't helping me. But when I started to see my therapist, you know, we worked on eliminating alcohol. So like, at least I wasn't drinking on the weekdays anymore, but I was still struggling with my weekends. And I had eliminated to a point that I was capable of doing some projects for myself. So I didn't want to go back to school right away. I didn't want to go back to work right away because I didn't want to fail at it. You know what I mean? So instead, I went and I did my personal training certificate, which was something I always wanted to do, but I didn't have time to do because I was building my career. So once I had done that, I had did it for myself. I had thought about, I was like, maybe I should, you know, actually go after my passion, this and that. And I was like, I was looking at the salaries, and I was looking at my income at the bank. I was like, I can't possibly do that. You know what I mean? So inevitably, I went back to work. And everybody thought I was doing so great at work, you know what I mean? Because I got promoted, I got recognized as the financial advisor that was making the most sales in the East End. But people didn't know that I was like really, really, really struggling on weekends. Like I was still getting blackout drunk, not as often, but it would happen every few weeks. And I would always play the PTSD card. So I'd be like, oh, my PTSD is back. And then I'd take like 2 weeks off work, you know, because I couldn't function. So what did it for me in the end was I was seeing someone, I was with him for 3 years, and he enjoyed drinking just as much as I did. Probably not a good idea. And he would point the finger at me a lot when I was drinking, you know, about all this shit that I would do. And finally, what had happened is that it was almost Christmas at that point, and I was having a PTSD episode where I didn't sleep for almost 3 weeks. I couldn't sleep to the point that I was seeing tunnel vision. I couldn't function at work.
You see blurry things.
It was insane. Like my pupils were like this big. So I took off work, and we ended up going to his family's house for a family dinner. And there was alcohol available. I hadn't slept for almost 3 weeks, and I started drinking. And it got so out of control that the next day, what I heard, I don't remember, is that I got so drunk, I spit on the floor in front of his family, in front of kids. I told off everyone. They had to drag me out of the house.
Wow.
I was so embarrassed. I had been through things before, but nothing that embarrassed me to this level. And at that moment, I was like, I'm done. I'm fucking done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. And that's where I decided that I was going to quit drinking for good. And I knew that the therapy wasn't really doing it for me anymore, and I had to find something else. So I decided to sign up for my first competition. I was like, I'm going to compete because I wanted to have accountability, like we said in the beginning. I wanted to have a positive distraction. And I wanted to have something that was going to be an excuse also for other people, like that I can't drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was...
Because you literally can't drink even if you wanted to.
Yeah,
especially if you're
exactly.
going into a competition.
But you
Those
know what?
Calories count, man.
I actually missed my first appointment with my coach because it was New Year's because I drank. And you know what happened? Actually, I wanted to tell you, that's what I wanted to say, is what made me quit drinking was the fact that his brother, I had tried to apologize to the family. So like you were saying about like being upfront and telling the person, listen, you have a problem. Me, it was two people. I was so used to everybody always saying like, oh, well, you know, she's going through her shit. Yeah. His brother did not accept it at all. Like I apologized to his brother. He's like, you're fucking drunk. He's like, you're hiding behind your fucking excuses. And he's like, I'm not accepting your apology. He's like, what you did to my kids is not okay. And I'm not going to accept it. And that was like, that came to get me like
What you needed.
so deep because not only you embarrass yourself, but now you can't play that card of I'm getting away with it. You know what I mean? And I just couldn't. But then I did. And it was the coach that went into me. And she's like, you know what? She's like, you're not fucking serious. She's like, I don't have time for this. She's like, you better rethink your goals. Otherwise, I'm not working with you. So again, I had to sit down and like put myself in perspective and say, okay, do you want to keep going down this path that is like not getting you anywhere? Or do you want to actually get your life together? And that's where these two people really like helped me like have that click moment. Yeah.
No, you need that kick in the ass, so to say.
Yeah, but that's it too often. Like we tell people, oh, it's okay. We have a tendency to do that, to be agreeable in Canada. Like we're agreeable. Like someone will say something, we're like, yeah, it's okay. Or like, you know, let people just have, you know, like we don't want to be hard on people, but sometimes people need to hear it as it is, man.
No, that 100%.
You know, it's like they need to.
You're
like,
enabling people.
It
at
is
that point.
enabling.
And
it is.
You can't do that shit.
Like the only way you
Can't
can
do that.
apologize at that point is by getting your shit together and
Proving them wrong, essentially.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's the
thank
only
God
way.
I did. Yeah, thank
So
God.
you got into that. You got the fitness. Your coach trainer. She didn't flake on you. She toughed it out.
Yeah. So basically, this was where the whole turnaround happened, and it's almost like a dream in a sense. It's like after 3 months of like not drinking at all, I felt so much better. Like physically, my body was changing. Like I was seeing results I had never seen before on my body. Mentally, I felt so much better, but like I literally isolated myself from everyone. I was like, nothing is going to stop me. Nothing. I cut friends, I cut places, I cut anything that was going to stop me had to go. So I was like in my bubble doing my thing, and I just felt so good. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, I'm like, this is awesome. And my consistency led up. Well, first I left that relationship. So after a few months, the guy I was with started saying I was boring. I was like, well, you know.
You gotta go, pal.
Yeah, you lost your drinking partner. Now I'm boring. You know, I was like, no, I'm not falling for that.
I think it's the worst thing when people have to what's it called, attribute having fun to drinking.
It's
like
horrible.
if you can't have a good time without alcohol,
It's
like you're dependent on it.
Everybody's like that.
It is
and
that.
that's why I coach like, you know, well, in my method, it's like that. Like part of my method is no drinking. Sobriety is part of the values of my company. And I literally refuse clients if they are not ready, because we are so used to drinking for everything. Like we think we need to drink to have fun, drink to have sex, drink to, you know, like to socialize. And if that's the way it is, then you're really missing something. You know what I mean? So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and there's a societal pressure to drink too, especially as men, right? Like if we go out for a night and I'm like, yeah, I don't drink.
I'd say, have
You
fun.
don't drink, bro? What the fuck? You're not gonna have a beer? Come on, have a shot. We're taking shots, bro. Come on, bro.
Or you're boring, you know? Like
definitely.
it's like
come on, bro. No, I don't drink. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, shocker.
But I think what's great is that when you do have people like, see in my case where I did quit drinking, and the quitting drinking is what led up to everything that I'm doing now. everything. Like, it's like as if I truly believe we all have one biggest challenge. You know, some people, it might be procrastination. Some people, it might be mood disorders. Some people, it might be substance abuse. But I truly believe we all have this one thing that holds us back from being the best version of ourselves. And once we tackle that one biggest challenge, we gain the strength and the confidence to overcome all other challenges. And it's like this domino effect that brings you to the next level in life that is just incredible.
Yeah, you gotta.
That's big right there.
Definitely. Like, you gotta get rid of that thing that's fucking you up.
That one thing, man.
I hate to say it, but I think it might be weed for me. Smoking too much weed.
You think? You think? Fucking guy, bro.
Yeah. So look, how did you land that first client of yours? What made you say, you know what, I'm gonna help people change their life? I've changed mine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna help you. Like, how did that happen?
First, you have to get to actually getting there, because I was still like working at the bank at that point, right? It's like I still had my career and this and that. And when I quit drinking, I did my competition. I ended up winning my first competition. So that was like huge for me, because like already I was doing this competition. That was my dream since I was 18. I wanted to be like one of those girls on the top of the magazines. And now I won my competition. So now I was really questioning, what do I want to do with my life? You know, I had this 10-year career that I had built, but now I was stepping into my personal power and my passion and doing what I love. But I had no idea where to start. I had no idea I was even going to do that. I went on a sick leave. I had no idea. I was like, what the hell do I want to do with my life? It's like I almost went through a shock of winning my competition, where I literally felt a dissociation from who I was. I did not know who I was anymore, because I was like, I didn't identify with that financial advisor person anymore. You know, I was going to work. I didn't feel like that's where I should be. Yeah. So I literally went on sick leave. And what happened was I did an interview for Fit Army at the time. I don't know if you guys know the clothing brand, but it's like a fitness brand. And they were doing a model search for Miami. And Matthew Park was the one that had interviewed me. And I stayed in touch with Matthew, and he was asking me, he's like, oh, well, he's like, come train with me. And it's like these big bodybuilding guys, you know? And I was like, I don't know, like Matthew doesn't bodybuild anymore, but he used to. And I was like a bit intimidated, and I said no maybe 2 times. And finally I did go. One day I did go. I had the courage, and that's why you should never say no. That's why I didn't say no to your podcast. Always accept opportunities, always accept the door, always confront things that make you uncomfortable, because you never know where that is going to take you, man. Yeah. And I went to that one training with Matthew, and Matthew asked me, he's like, well, so what's up? Since last time I talked to you, what do you want to do, this and that? And I was like, well, I'm on sick leave. I'm really not sure what I want to do with my life anymore. And he's like, well, let me ask you a question. He's like, if you could do one thing and not get paid for it for the rest of your life, what would it be? And I'm like, well, I would train people. Like, I love fitness. And he's like, well, I need to tell you something. I'm like, what? He's like, well, I'm actually a business developer for people in the fitness industry, and I really want to help you. And I was like, wow, okay. But I didn't believe him. So his 2 first meetings, I actually canceled them.
Yeah, you're thinking he's trying to pull a scam on you.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you know, like those people that end up in your DM. There's so many nowadays.
He's trying to pull out the piece of bill, you know what I'm saying?
So I was skeptical, you know what I mean?
For
but
sure.
You know
as
what?
you should be, though, kind of as a woman,
But
right?
hold on, though. You know, it's like you never know. Like, I really find that we have to be more open-minded. We need to tune in. We need to listen. That's why, you know, in business, networking is so important, because you never know. Like, success is achieved through people, through connections. You know what I mean? So all that to say, Matthew, I ended up saying, you know what, I'm going to give it a chance. And I went with Matthew, and he showed me basically how I would develop my strategy. So my pricing strategy, what it would look like, how I would. And then I realized that the format, the method was similar to what I was doing as a financial advisor. Like, you call clients, tell them about your services, this and that. So I was like, I could do this. And I just got to it. I just started calling people and saying, listen, I was on sick leave. But I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a chance. I rented an office in a gym. And I just started calling people. And because I guess I had results and people knew my story, people started coming. And within my first month, I was making more than my salary at the Royal Bank. Yeah. Within 6 months, I cleared a $20,000 debt that I would have never cleared as a financial advisor. And I bought my first BMW. Yeah.
Foreign.
Yeah, so it's like that's pretty much how it worked. And honestly, it's like I think the thing is we all have these ideas of things that we want to do, and we find people are super inspiring, and we think that it is not achievable for most of us, but we have to remember that everybody is just human. You know, we're all the same. We're all the same. And that's why it's so important when you want to do something to connect with people that have done it. You know, you have to find that blueprint, because without being capable of visioning it, without being capable of seeing it, you cannot materialize it. You know, so often that's what it comes to. Like if it wasn't for Matthew, I wouldn't have known what to charge. I would have charged $50 a session, burnt myself out, and ended up going right back to the bank. You know what I mean? So
I know what you mean. Like my cousin, she's a fitness coach also. I don't know if you run in the circles. Her name's Mina. Hi, Mina. So yeah, I know these things cost a lot. Like these sessions, they're worth it because you're getting these like routines and that I wouldn't know what to do at the gym. You're getting that what's it called? That fire, somebody right behind you, like pushing you, and they're like fucking pushing you to the extreme. And you see the results at the end. You know what I mean? When you have somebody that's really motivating you every day to hit the weights, put extra weights on the legs and stuff like that, it really helps out. So it's a profitable business to be in.
It's a very profitable business. Like the weight loss industry is one of, you know, besides the sex industry, that's probably the most profitable in the world, you know, because it plays on so many pain points. You know, we all want to look better. We all want to feel better. And when we do, you know, it's been linked to our personal success, you know, in our relationships, in our careers, because you have that confidence, you have that energy, you're going to seek more, your standards are going to be higher. You know what I mean? So I think we all want that, you know what I mean? But then it's question of actually doing it. So yeah, having someone help you is definitely like I think it's in everything. You know, we need to have strategic partners in our life, you know, whether it's with our health, with our businesses. Your relationship is also a partnership. It is so important to have like those key players in your corner.
Support.
I think you're in a relationship right now with somebody that's like super supportive of you, and really like you guys are you're like how do you say, like yin and yang, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're like really great. Like Ludovic is really great. Like he's also into fitness, you know, and same lifestyle, same habits. He'll still eat all his meals out of a Tupperware. But I think it's so great because that's the thing too, is when you're making these life changes, and I'm happy that you bring that up, because what made it very difficult for me to make these changes was the fact that I was always falling back on my old environment. You know, like you have your old friends with the old habits and you chill at the same places. And when you want to be a different person, you want to evolve, a lot of times you're going to have to change that environment, you know, and that's the thing, is a lot of people are scared to be alone. They're looking at what they're losing rather than what they're gaining. You know, what am I losing rather than the life that I'm actually gaining? And in the past, all my relationships were, you know, there was no thought put into my relationship. It was like, oh, you meet someone, he's hot. Okay, it works, you know, but when after Carlos, you know, and after leaving my ex, you know, for the drinking and this and that, I was single for 2 years and I was in the best place of my life. You know, for the first time, I was focusing on everything that T wants. You know, I built my business, I competed, I won my pro cards. Like, I was on fire. So I was like, no one's coming into my fucking life. I'm going to be single forever. And then, you know, Ludovic, like, he came in and he, you know, it's like, I actually like, for the first month, I told him that I didn't even want to date. Like, I was pushing him away, and kept coming back and bringing me chicken and bringing me coffees. He won me with the chicken and the coffees. But it ended up working because we are compatible in so many senses. You know, like, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he's business driven, he's passionate about fitness. So that compatibility makes us have a solid foundation, you know? So we have to be selective in terms of the people we let into our life, you know, because that could either help or hinder our personal development. Yeah,
you don't want somebody detrimental to your life.
Absolutely.
100%. Listen, at a certain point in your life, you get to a certain age, you have to start being selfish.
People don't.
You have to.
Like, people,
you have to.
They like, people don't. You know, like, I think so many people are scared of being like lonely, you know, that like they'll just, or like we had said, you know, the importance of taking care of yourself, your standards go up. But when you don't, when you suffer from low self-esteem, low confidence, you'll let people into your life that don't necessarily, you know, bring all the stuff that we should have, you know? So
no, they bring the negative, and the worst thing about that is it's cyclical. It's like people don't realize you get stuck on that wheel. You know, you're drinking because you're depressed, but you're depressed because you're drinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Replace it with eating. It's the same thing. You're eating because you're depressed because you're fat. It just keeps.
it doesn't stop.
Yeah,
you know?
it's
Or
fucked
like
up.
it's sometimes it's our relationship, sometimes it's our career. You know, it's like we're so scared to make those changes, but all those circumstances and people are what's driving us to, you know, self-sabotage. You know, so
Look, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you actually motivated me to start going back to the gym. So it was like 4 weeks ago. I woke up one morning and I'm like, I looked at my email and my credit card had changed recently, and I didn't realize that I was still paying BuzzFeed $12 a month for like the last year for nothing. So I see it, and my card got expired. And at this point, I'm getting charged double since it's bouncing. And now I owe $200 to the gym for not even going to the gym.
That's crazy.
So I go to the gym and I'm like, I'd like to cancel the account. Then I thought about it. Like, I was at the counter. I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I'm going to use
Just
this.
go, man.
I'm going to use this as a motivation to go. And the guy's like, okay, I'll take off this much money since you're going to re-sign up.
oh, that's
And
cool.
ever since then, like 5 days a week, I wake up 7 a.m. till like, I walk 45 minutes to the gym.
Oh, good for
So
you.
that's my cardio, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
I
It
get-
counts.
I get to the gym, work out for an hour, and then I walk back for 45 minutes. I've been doing it 5 days a week. For
And how do you
the last-
feel?
How much
Feel
better do
amazing.
you feel?
Yeah.
Feel amazing.
Come on, bro.
Totally.
It's night and day.
It is, though. It
night
is
and
night and
fucking
day.
Exactly.
Are you addicted to it yet, though?
Yeah, I am.
I hope you. I hope you get to that point.
If I miss out on
Yeah.
a day, I don't feel good. Like, it's been only 4 weeks. I can imagine you going for years now.
Yeah.
But like, my goal was, since this podcast was in a little bit of a hiatus because Michael got married,
Shout out to Mike and congratulations on the marriage, man.
I'm like, I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna flex on you, bro.
You know what? For me, bro, it's what makes it easy for me to be able to work out as much as I do. Mind you, I don't work out as much as I was because of my new job, but that's besides the point. For me, it's like I'm fucking stressed out. You know me. I'm stressed the fuck out between the kids, the job, the this, the that. I'm stressed out. When I'm working out, bro, it's just me and the weights.
Yep.
And it's just me.
mental
It's
break,
me.
man.
It's me. It's that. But also for me, it is a mental break because it's that tunnel vision. It's just me against the weight.
Yeah.
That's it. For that 45 minutes to an hour and a half, whatever it is, depending on what muscle group I'm doing that day, it's like, it's just me against, it's the task. It's just the task. You know, it's there's nothing else. There's no outside, there's no inner thoughts plaguing me. It's just me against the weight, you know? And that's addictive.
It is.
It's addictive. I fucking love it, actually, to be honest with you. Yeah.
It's good, though, to get into it right away, because I think a lot of people, what they struggle with is that we have expectations to see results right away.
Yeah.
And working out is the only thing that won't deliver results right away. You know, so it's
there's
like
a
most
rant coming.
people start because, you know, they want to see the physical aspect change. Like, you know, we all say it's to be healthier, but let's not lie. Like, when people do it, usually it's because they want to see a physical change
100%.
first, you know?
100%.
And the things that give us pleasure in the moment, you know, like having sweets and stuff like that, it's like right away you're getting that pleasure. But with working out, that's why it's so hard to stay consistent, because you have to give up things that are giving you pleasure, that are reducing stress. And I say in bracket because it doesn't actually do that. You know what I mean? And you're here, you're putting effort, you're working out, which is another type of pain in a sense, especially for someone that never worked out, but the results don't come right away. So when someone's doing it, you know, it's like they expect, you know, like in 6 weeks, in 8 weeks to be a different person. They don't see it and they have to give up all these little things that they like. Well, that's when they get discouraged. So there really needs to be that mindset switch in terms of, well, these things, like, let's say for me, alcohol, like, that was the biggest thing that helped me. And that's how I help my clients, is that perception. That's why my clients and my success rate is so high, because we don't just talk about food and we don't just talk about exercising. We talk about perception. Like, the thing that's giving you pleasure, is it really giving you that? Like, I used to drink because I felt that it was taking away my pain, but it was creating more suffering. So my motivation was to avoid pain, but my actions were not aligned with that goal, with that objective. So that's how I try to coach people, is to say, well, listen, you know, like, you're eating sugar or you're drinking at night because you want to avoid stress, But are you really doing that? Because, you know, like sugar, for example, you know, you're doing it to feel better, but then you're suffering from low self-esteem. Then, you know, you're gaining weight. Then you feel bad about the fact that, you know, you can't be consistent with your behaviors. Alcohol keeps cortisol in your blood. So it doesn't even alleviate stress in reality. You know what I mean? So I think it's really a question of identifying really what is our true motivation? What are we seeking? And are our behaviors and our actions accomplishing that goal? And when we come to this deep thought, we could come to the realizations of, maybe it's not. You know what I mean? That thought process doesn't occur. And without that thought process, you cannot make the change that will actually lead to long-term results.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's definitely something you have to implement in your life. And if you don't follow these thought process, I guess, you're going to have a very, very...
you're just going to go back and forth, yo-yo dieting, you know, like, or doing it because I want to lose weight. And then it's like you lose 10 pounds. And then it's like, there really needs to be, you know, they say as of age 30, we tend to live in our subconscious mind. Like everything, our habits become mostly automatic. You know, you wake up, you take a certain route. Like you don't have to think about brushing your teeth anymore. You know what I mean? It's like you get up, you brush. Let's hope we all get up and we brush our teeth. You know what I mean? But most of our behaviors become ingrained by the time we're 30 years old. So that's why it's so difficult to actually change behaviors, because we need to put conscious effort to do that. You know, so it's like most people don't go that far. You know, they don't question, they don't think, they just, okay, I want to lose weight, exercise and eating, but not think about why do I have this behavior? What is driving me towards that? And what can I do to replace it? Because if you're not replacing the behavior, then also it's not going to work. You know,
we all have a hole to fill. But we all have a hole to fill, and you might as well fill it with something healthy.
Exactly, you have to replace it.
Yeah, 100%. You really do. And listen, I told you there was a rant coming. Listen, I know you're super professional. She's a very professional individual, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm not so professional. I'm about to go off because this shit be pissing me the fuck off. Listen, there is no such thing as a shortcut when it comes to whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to be a bodybuilder and look like fucking Big Papa Pump, whatever it is that you want to do fitness related, there's no shortcuts, okay? No. So stop buying the weight loss tea that these fucking morons are on Facebook selling. Listen, for 4 installments of $29.99, you can drink this once a day and you'll lose 7 inches off your waist in 30 days. No, the fuck you won't. All right? You got to get up. You got to, first of all, put the fucking hot dog down, put the pizza down, put the french fries down. You're going to have to go to the gym. You're going to have to work out. I'm sorry to tell you guys, okay? There's no fucking shortcuts. There's no pill you're going to take that's going to make you lose 40 pounds in 3 months. It's not going to fucking happen. So stop. It's a sales pitch. It's a scam. It's a pyramid scheme. It pisses me off, okay, to no end, because I can't stand these motherfuckers. Listen, and they're really out here pushing it. Listen, yeah. Oh, I got this Pure Trim weight loss tea. Yeah. $30. All you have to do is drink this once a day, and I promise you, within a month, you're going to lose 20 pounds.
Work out. You don't got to do nothing. Just drink it.
It's sad.
Are you guys for real right now? Like, listen, the thing that I love about fitness and working out is it is the physical manifestation of a life truth. You get out what the fuck you put in.
That's it. Absolutely. I love that. That is so beautiful.
It's what it is. That's why I like working out, because it's a metaphor for life. It's a metaphor for fucking life.
That was beautiful.
All right?
Yeah.
So put the fucking hot dog down, for Christ's sake, man. And listen, look, I like a hot dog. You know, I'll have a hot dog here and there, but like, you understand what I'm saying, you know? Come on.
You have to put the work
in
anything you do. Anything. Like whether you want to be successful in your career, whether you want to be successful in your relationship, like you have to be willing continuously to, you know, evaluate, you know, what's helping you, what's not, what you can change. And it takes work, you know, and without wanting to do that work on ourselves, well, you know, it's like we want to avoid it. We want to avoid the pain. Well, then you're going to have the pain of having a different type of suffering for the rest of your life that's going to compound and become worse. You know, if it's your career, you're going to be broke. If it's your relationship, it's going to fall apart. And if it's your body, you're going to end up sick and overweight. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like either, you know, choose your heart. That's how they say it. Choose your heart, right?
Yeah.
Like they say,
I like that.
Your body is a temple, you know what I mean? Treat it as such. Watch what you put into it. I can take care of it.
No, bro, I feel like shit. What did you eat last week?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you eat on a daily basis? Oh, I'm tired. I wonder why. I wonder why you're tired.
No, seriously. And when you really think of it, like all this fast food, like McDonald's and all that stuff, that's literally garbage.
It is garbage.
It's garbage.
It is.
It doesn't have any nutritional
There's not a vitamin or
benefits.
fucking
Zero.
mineral in it, bro. Like,
And we eat this and we give this to our kids.
But it should not be available.
Exactly.
It should be illegal. Like,
And they have something
like
in
I
it.
sound horrible, but it's true.
Yeah,
You know,
dude.
it's like that's one of the things too. I'm happy that you bring that up because like my success rate with clients is extremely high, like extremely high. And like my retention rate is also high. Like most of my clients will lose about 30 pounds within the first 3 to 6 months, and they actually keep it off. And the success rate of diets is usually 95%, but the success rate of keeping the weight off is only 5%.
100%.
Yeah, it's only 5%. And the reason for that is because, you know, a lot of people, they'll fall into, like you said, you know, these fad diets rather than seeking that lifestyle change or, you know, fall on the junk food, you know, which stimulates the palate, keeps the cravings going. So like the only way, like my method with my clients is really like I did with my personal life. The same thing. All that is in my method. Identify the things that are holding you back at the core and implement the things that are going to help you move forward. So, you know, eliminating alcohol, eliminating processed food, eliminating sugar, artificial sweeteners, and then replacing it with a whole food diet, things that are going to support our hormones, eliminate the cravings, and make it easy to follow a diet because at that point you could actually eat an abundance of food and it becomes sustainable, you know, and that's the only way. Like, unless we take a different approach with our nutrition, which is difficult because it's all that type of food that's available. You know what I mean? It's like everything's packaged. Yeah. And everybody wants fast, right? Everybody's in a rush. Women nowadays, they all have careers. They all have kids. So they think faster. But honestly, it's not faster to make a pizza in the oven than it is to take chicken out of your fridge and rice that you batched for a few days and make a salad. There's no difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Right. You got to be aware of what you're putting into your body. Take the time to cook an actual meal. You know what I mean? Fast food this, fast food that. You know there's no nutritional benefits. Now they got to put the calories on the thing just so they know, motherfucker, this is what you're putting in your body right now. 1,000 calories.
But people don't understand the macros too, though, and you have to pay attention to the macros. It's not just the number of the calories. You actually have to pay attention
how it's affecting
to
your genes.
100%.
How it's affecting
this is all available. All this information is available online, so you have no excuse. Like for me, the rule of thumb. Listen, I'm not a fucking nutritionist. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not a fucking bodybuilder. But for me, it's very simple. If it doesn't walk or grow,
yes,
don't fucking eat it.
If it comes out of a box, it should be avoided. That's the simplest.
It's not hard,
rule.
guys. It's not fucking hard.
The GMO stuff too, like everything. Now, GMO this, GMO that, everything is genetically modified. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to steer clear of that stuff.
Yeah. But I think it's difficult because there's a lot of subsidies. Like the government actually subsidizes, corn and soybean is the two things that receive the most money from the government. And what happens is they are actually in everything that we eat. So high fructose corn syrup is what makes food sweet. And it's the leading cause of insulin resistance, sugar addiction, which contributes to obesity. And obesity went up 3 times in the last 30% in the last 3 decades, if I'm not mistaken. Those are the numbers. So what happens is and the soybean is made for preservatives to actually preserve food on the counters. Okay. So because these two elements are literally in everything, in fast food restaurants, in food on the counters, every single store, every single restaurant pays these taxes to the government. So there's absolutely no incentive to change that. If you would give, for example, the money to farmers to grow fresh food instead, it wouldn't be profitable for the government to do that. Yeah. So I don't want to sound like I'm conspiracying in some type of way, but this is actual,
it's true.
Actual data. Yeah. And unless we change the food that is available, like we're really in trouble because they're saying actually that we're raising the first generation of children that are likely going to die before their parents due to food-related illnesses.
That's crazy.
This whole gluten-free stuff. I'm under the impression that ever since they started genetically modifying stuff, everybody's allergic to gluten. Haven't you noticed that? Like when we were kids, nobody had a gluten allergy or anything like that.
No, but
Now
they did. They just didn't know it. We were monkeys 30 years ago.
I don't know. I have to say it's all the GMO stuff that's being put into our food.
Well, gluten is harmful for your gut.
Yeah.
Like it actually like pierces small holes in your gut, and it can be very difficult to digest. And not everybody will be necessarily gluten intolerant, but it's almost like, I'm going to put it this way for you. Think about an investment. When you put your money in investment, it's not right away that it will grow. You know what I mean? It's over time. So with your health, it's a compounding effect. So when you're eating gluten all the time, which is a substance that we shouldn't be consuming, it's not immediately that it's going to affect you. It's over the years. And it's only now that we're actually uncovering information about gut health, how it affects, for example, our serotonin, which is related to our mood. So mood disorders and stuff like that. So right now they're going into deeper research and finding that there is a relationship with gluten, but it's due to the consumption over time. But at the same time, a lot of times these things are marketed to make money. You know, like they'll put gluten free on things that never had gluten in the first place. So it's more the fact that it's sad that instead of educating society, we are marketing to society. And because we are marketing to society, we are confusing people about what they should eat, you know? So it's like people don't even want to make the effort anymore because they don't know who or what to believe. You know?
Well, it's the same thing with the low fat craze that happened in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And the thing is, you need fats. Like you need fats in order to absorb vitamins and minerals in your body. It's the sugar that you need to be avoiding.
It's the type of fats though too, right?
Yeah,
like, so we're talking about like soybean, like that's the type of fat that causes inflammation, and inflammation is the leading cause of all diseases. So then you have your healthy fats, which should be in our diet. So I think it's really, the secret is going to be more about education. Like I think people need to be educated in schools, like straight up. You know, we need to have information ready on, like it is a life skill to know how to eat. And if we want to have societies that could contribute and actually, you know, make a difference, you know, have people that could be productive, then we need to have healthy people. And so I don't, you know, in my opinion, it really stems out from being capable of educating early on, you know, about nutrition.
Yeah, definitely important. So the business now, like how many clients do we have? How many girls are part of it?
Oh my God. It's like hard to handle, man. Like, business is great. I have about 120 clients under management at this point.
Damn.
And last year I had attempted to have a team, but I didn't want to micromanage, which was my mistake. Like I assumed that people are adults, they'll just do, you know, and then like for me, customer service is extremely important. Like client experience is very, very, very important. So when things wouldn't go my way, then it's like, that's like, I'd rather just do it myself. But right now I'm really at that point where I cannot grow unless I have a team. So that is really the step of 2022 and 2023 is we are, developing the standards of practice of tinyt.fitness so that we can start taking on a team that, you know, will be like my mini clones and deliver the experience 80% of how I do. Because otherwise I cannot grow and I cannot keep up without like compromising, the existing you know, the existing experience.
You're gonna lose that formula. It's not gonna be right. You know what I mean? You gotta see it the way you see it. It has to be executed the way it is in your brain.
Exactly. So having that, like making it very clear, you know, like what the vision is, what the values are. Like I said, you know, no low calorie diets, a whole food diet, no alcohol, you know, so it's like the method has to stay the same. After that, like each coach could have their style because you don't want to take that from someone, you know, that's what makes us all special and unique. But having that method, because that is something that's how I want to impact people, because that's how it impacted me. When I eliminated all these things from my life, I was capable of not only overcoming my challenges, not only changing my body, but completely transforming my life. And I use this method now to impact others the same way. So if I want to continue to grow this company and really make a difference on a higher level, then I have to have people implicated, but that will do it the same way as I do.
Is it only females that you train, or?
It is.
Okay, see,
it is. It is.
Steve's trying to wiggle his way in. That's
is.
what's happening.
I get intimidated. You intimidate me. Like like the first time I asked her to, we were supposed to meet.
It was big of you to
meet at the
admit that, by
gym.
the
It
way.
didn't work out. And after I'm like, we can meet at my house. And I'm like, it sounds a little weird, you know, inviting somebody that I never met to my house. So I'm like, my girlfriend will be there just to put you at ease. But then after I thought about it, I'm like, bro, she can beat the fuck out of me. Like, she's not even yeah.
That's so
like
funny.
that's the thing. Like when I see somebody that's been putting in so much work and effort into the gym, and your results are like
They're amazing.
I see them. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
It intimidates me as a guy that's never been to the gym, and I just started going 4 weeks ago. I'm like, if she was my coach and I would like fuck up, like I could picture her coming doing house calls, making sure my fridge has the right stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm really not that bad. Like, I think honestly, like, most of my clients, they stay on track because I'm very selective of who I take. I take people investing in my business very seriously. If I feel that the person is not ready, I will not take them, because in the end of the day, it's my responsibility to make sure that they get results. And when they succeed, I succeed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm very, very, very selective on who I take. So when I conduct client interviews, you know, that's what I assess, is their readiness and their willingness to do the work. And right away, when I see people are not ready because they're too busy, they don't want to meal prep, or they want to keep drinking on weekends, no, it's a no-go. So I think that's what makes it, in a sense, easy for me to have clients that are more independent. Like, I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not there to help people with anxiety or depression. You know, I'm not equipped. I don't have the expertise to deal with that myself. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't help people with emotional, and I tell them that. Like, I'm helping you with your nutrition. I'm helping you with your training. I'll give you my method, but it's up to you to implement it. So I take people that are capable of actually, you know, like putting it in place without being held by the hand, you know?
That's how it has to be.
It should be like that. Yeah, it's like we expect someone to be there and tell us, do this, do this, do this. Well, what are you going to do when that person's not there anymore? You know, and that's why a lot of people too, it's like they hire a trainer to do a few sessions, but then it's like, if you want to train, if you're counting on someone to like train you 4 times a week, what do you do as soon as there's no more funds? You give up, you know? So it's like, we have to learn to take responsibility for our lives. It's good to have someone guide you, but we have to be accountable.
And you have to be ready. You have to be ready, because it's a commitment. People don't realize it's a commitment, man. It's a commitment. Like you said before, you're not gonna look like Brock Lesnar in 8 weeks. It's just not. It's not gonna happen, guys. Like, sorry.
Look, I have a question. When you get to the point that you're just like, dude, I'm a fucking beast right now. Do you walk around with this thought in your head, like you see people and like, I can break you. Don't get under my skin today. Do you have that like ego?
No, I don't.
I think I would. I would be walking around like this, dude.
Honestly, no. Like, I don't feel that way. Like, I do feel that it makes you very confident. Like, it makes you feel very, very good about yourself. You know, it makes it easier to present yourself in places. Like, it changes your posture. It changes how you're going to communicate with people, you know? But after that, it's like, when I look at people, like, I just want to like help people, you know, like I want to help them, because like I feel that, you know, a lot like my boyfriend, he used to be like that, where he'd look at people and be like, oh, that person. I'm like, no, I'm like, you understand? Like, I'm like, it's not people's fault they're like that, you know, like food addiction is so real. It's so real, like, and we don't talk about it. A lot of people, do you think people want to be overweight, or people want to be sick? Like, no one wants to be like that, you know what I mean? So when I see people, it's like, for me, like, I don't feel like I'm better. I don't, like, compare myself. I just want to help other people get on that level themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a great outlook on people around you and everything. You know, you don't want to have that ego, like
so basically you're a sack of shit is what you're saying.
I've never been like that. I've never been that
but
big.
Like, no one likes these people.
No,
you know,
exactly,
it's like, it doesn't serve you. It's like.
But I'm saying, maybe like once you're pumping all that iron, you know.
No, but you feel good.
Inflating these, you start inflating this a little bit too. You know?
Yeah, but then you run into someone who can actually fight, and then the muscles don't matter all of a sudden, bro. Trust me.
Yeah. No, I think we have to stay humble, man, in everything we do. And like sometimes, like, you know, it's easy to lose touch of that. You know, you make more money, you get a bit more visibility, but stay humble, man, because it's like, I think our journey is made to inspire others, and we're supposed to pull others to the top with us, you know? So the more we stay humble, the more we're relatable, the more we're open, the more people will come see you and actually ask for that type of help and ask for that type of guidance, you know?
Anyways, I was only kidding. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
He feels
I
bad
don't
now.
fight anybody.
He feels bad. He's
But
like,
we're getting to that time of the day that you got to pick up that gem over there. And you got to drop a gem on the people.
I have to do what with this?
You have to hold it in your hand. Tech, what does she have to do with it?
What do I have to do with
You
this?
have to basically drop a gem, meaning bestow some sort of knowledge to whatever type of knowledge, advice you would want to give somebody, whether it's somebody who
Life
wants
advice,
to
fitness
get into
advice.
shape, or whether wants to start a business, whatever comes to mind.
Wow, I thought I already said it all.
You
said
did.
a lot.
The whole
said a
episode
lot.
was gems. I'm not gonna lie.
Like, exactly.
I'm not gonna
It's
lie.
like full of gems.
But now you got to compact it into like one little short gem.
Well, just I think like the most important messages is really like we're all going to go through things, you know, sometimes horrible things, and that you know, we can't allow ourselves to become that, you know, that we have to have the strength to overcome it, but it all starts with really identifying the things that are holding us back and having the courage to actually work on it, because we can all have like very fulfilling and abundant lives, but oftentimes we need help, and going to get that help and overcoming our challenges could really transform our lives. Like when we look at people, we have to remember that no one's special, no one's gifted. You know, we might have the odd person, but in the end of the day, most of what we see is really the result of hard work, and we're all capable of that.
Fantastic gem.
Oh, there's my gem.
That was a great gem.
Thank you.
Where can the people find Tiny T? And do we have any openings for the fitness center right now? I know you said you're pretty booked up.
I have a waiting list, so that's how it works.
Get on the waiting list.
There's a waiting list. There's always a 2 to 3 week waiting list. You know, that doesn't stop from contacting. You know, it's just that it's always priority, like given priority who contacts. Again, selective on who comes in, like who. I say we often, like I talk about myself in the third person because I know I'm going to have a team, so we. But selective in terms of like who I take on. But most people will reach me by Instagram, which is tinyt.fitness, and just a DM and go from there.
Awesome. So you heard her. Follow her on Instagram. Hit her up. Maybe you get lucky. We don't know.
Maybe.
Thank you for watching another episode of the Hustle Podcast.
Thank you.
And we out.
Go do burpees right now.
Burpees.
The Hustle. My name is Steve Tek, and these are my co-hosts, and I'm Tek. You may have heard me on radio. You may have never heard of me at all, but that's okay.
Y'all gon' learn today. Your whole life was a struggle, had to make it out the jungle. This is a show for you. Welcome to the hustle. Under pressure, never break a fold. Keep chasing your goals until you blow. Now, welcome to the hustle. Take money, make money, build a future forever. Even in stormy weather, we execute for treasure. The grind is real, you know. Got the willpower, Terrence Howard, hustle and flow. Rain, sleep, or snow. The odds against me for sure. I kick down them doors when they close. A sharp shooter,